like last time when I talked on this thing. He thought he was getting a personal revelation, but here we go. Welcome to our State Transportation Commission meeting this morning. So great to be here in Moab, and just a beautiful part of our state. And we'll look forward to hearing from the mayor and some others in a little bit here, but we welcome you today to our commission meeting. Besides us, we have Commissioner Gochner on Zoom with us. She'll introduce herself in just a minute. We go around and do introductions. And I'm Jim Evans, and I have the honor to chair with my wonderful commissioners here this meeting that we'll hold today. And thanks to Region 4, Kurt, thanks to you and your staff for hosting and working with Moab City and others down here to allow us to hold this meeting here today. Thanks so much. I'd like to start out with a Pledge of Allegiance. And Bruce, I didn't ask you, but I bet you know the Pledge of Allegiance. Can you lead us in it?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to, first of all, do introductions if I could with the commission members. We'll start with you, Paul, and we'll come around the table here.
So Paul Borup, the Region 1 Commissioner representing the northern part of the state.
Thank you.
Bruce Adams, I live in Monticello, Utah. Drove over this morning. I represent Region 4, which is only 14 out of 29 counties. And this is my region here.
We're happy to be here.
Kevin Van Tassel, Commissioner at Large. I live in Vernal, Utah.
Thanks, Kevin.
Brad D., Commissioner at Large, live in Weber County.
And I'm Tom Jacobson. I'm a Commissioner at Large and live in Park City. Please don't hold that against me.
No, beautiful area. Thank you. He's our liberal buddy. Yeah. And Natalie, online, would you like to have you introduce yourself if you could?
Yeah, happy to do that. You hearing me okay?
We can.
Yeah, that's great. So Natalie Gochner, I represent Region 2, Tooele, Summit, and Salt Lake County. I live in Murray, and I apologize. My name says Chris Gochner on the screen. That's my husband, but I am indeed Natalie, a commissioner representing Region 2.
Okay. We're happy to have either one of you. Thanks, Natalie, for joining us today. And I'm Jim Evans. I live in Orem, and I represent Region 3 along with all the rest of you, the whole state. So it's good to be here today. Carlos, I'd love to have you introduce your staff here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Carlos Braceras, I'm Executive Director at Utah Department of Transportation. And we do have a few Utah folks here, and I think everyone knows the drill. Let's start with Lisa and Ben. Let's go across and then back and forth. And Jamie, you're not yet a Department of employee yet, but we're working on it.
Lisa Wilson, UDOT Deputy Director.
Ben Hewitt, UDOT Deputy Director of Planning and Investment.
Rob White, Region 1 Director.
Nathan Peterson, Region 1 Deputy Director.
Grant Potter, UDOT Communications.
Fort Peterson Operations. Jared Beard, Region 4 Deputy Director.
Kurt Thornott, Region 4 Director.
Cameron Gay, Region 4 Program Manager. Cody Marchant, Region 4 Traffic Operations.
Dan Hinkley, District Engineer, the East District of Region 4.
Chris Hall, Region 4 Planning Manager.
Boyd Humphries, Region 3 Deputy Director.
Todd Clayton, Region 3 Director.
Tosh Sletton, Deputy Director.
Stephanie Tomlin,
Josh Kendra, Trail Transit Group.
Nate Elmers, Policy and Legislative Affairs.
Lisa Zumbo, Region 2 Deputy Director.
Angela Training, Program Manager. Ivan Harlow, Financial Program.
Matt Parker on the Gateway Project Program.
Jim Oliver, Region 4 SDG.
Bus Credit Director, Ryan.
Good, everybody? Thank you. We'll get some introductions in just a minute here. We will have some public comments in just a minute after our local area presentation. So I think I'll wait and I know we have Mayor Joette Lognace. I kind of said, sorry, I butchered it, Mayor. And we have also Councilmember Knudsen Boyd, and we have Commissioner Lori Mon, and we need to pay her a lot. She had to take over for him and fix whatever Bruce did over all those years. So anyway, what we'll do is, you and any other local officials, in just a minute after the presentation, I'd love to have you each come up and address the commission. And just with that, I think, Carlos, let's go ahead and go to the local presentation. If we could, Kurt, we'll have you introduce who's going to present.
I like that we get to sit. Well, on behalf of UDOT, especially Region 4, our Region 4 family, I'd like to welcome the commission to Moab, Utah, Grand County. I think Carlos has me beat. I first came to Moab in 1992 as a young student at Southern Utah University, and somebody told me about Moab and mountain biking, and I have not missed a summer ever since. So love this place. I love coming here. It's really important to me and to my family of great recreation activities. So I'd like to welcome you. Today we'll have Cameron Gay, our region program manager, come up and give a little local area presentation to describe a little bit of what's happening in San Juan County and Grand County since we're in this area.
Good morning, Commission, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, welcome to Moab. Beautiful place and great time of year to be down here. As you woke up this morning, you likely enjoyed a little bit of the cool breeze, but it's still warm enough to not have to have a big coat on. So great time of year to be down here. A little different sitting down, so we'll get here used to it. So as Kurt mentioned, today our local area presentation, we'll be talking about what's been taking place in San Juan and Grand counties. I'll give you a little bit of an overview and dive a little bit into the weeds on some of the projects, and please answer or ask any questions you have as we go through, if you see any questions or projects you have questions on. This slide here shows you an overview of what's taken place over the past 10 years in these two counties. So in San Juan County, there's been $295,865,000 worth of projects that have been allocated to this area. Those projects have been spread across 68 different locations. And in Grand County, $165 million over 51 projects. These projects vary in their status right now. Some have been completed, obviously, from the time frame there, and some are currently in process right now. So they range from planning to construction, and also include state-funded, local-funded, and some of our partnerships with our local governments. Here, we've provided a short list of projects that have been funded just in the past couple of years, from 2024 to current. These projects represent just over $184 million down in the San Juan County area. As you can see, these range from preservation and rehab type of projects, those that we take care of our pavements, some structure replacements, some widening, reconstructs. We also have some roadside safety projects, some corridor preservation, and some studies, feasibility studies and concept studies. Those two projects highlighted in light blue, I will dive a little bit deeper into in just a minute and give you a little deeper look at those particular projects. Moving on to those projects here in Grand County. Again, a lot of pavement preservation and pavement rehabilitation projects, roadside safety, some corridor preservation, and looking forward to projects that we can do a little bit of work on now and preserve some corridor for future needs, as well as some trail projects. And again, those three projects highlighted in blue, we'll dive into just a little bit deeper. So here's the first project I'd like to get into the weeds a little bit on for you. Cottonwood Wash Bridge Replacement Project. This is a $10.9 million project. This is a structure that we have dealt with for many, many years. You as a commission have approved a few emergency repairs to hold this thing into place until we could get to this phase. You'll notice the size of this wash is fairly substantial. And so a couple of the key factors in working on this project was providing continuity for the traveling public. So we replaced the entire structure over the Cottonwood Wash, and this had to be done in a phased approach, both the removing existing structure as well as placing the new structure. There's a few pictures there at the bottom that kind of show some of those phased approaches that we had. And we also had some fantastic coordination with the Bears Ears Tribal Commission on this project as we had some cultural areas within the project site. Next is our SR 162 and 262 Safety and Energy Corridor project. This is a very substantial project in this area of the state, $152.4 million. You'll notice this project spanned 54.4 miles. So we touched, rehabbed, reconstructed 54.4 miles with this project. Anywhere from major and minor rehabs to preservation, structure replacements, safety. You can see there a list of all the different types of elements. This project literally had just about all of them. You'll notice on the graphic on the right, we've kind of broke down just a little bit on kind of highlighting some of the areas that this project, what was happening in the particular areas. I apologize there. So those in blue was a pavement preservation or pavement rehab. So we were working on utilizing our existing pavements and making them smoother, better, and providing longevity into the future. There in the middle, we constructed a new roundabout at Montezuma Creek, and I'll show you a few pictures here in just a moment that gives you a little more detail there. The orange represents a full reconstruct segment. We had a lot of sharp curves and windy areas that needed some safety improvements. And so that area represents an area, a portion of the project where we've done a full depth reconstruct. So this project currently is under construction. It's about 70% complete to date. We will finish the project next year. Over on the left, this gives you a bird's eye view of the roundabout that was constructed in the Montezuma Creek area. In the upper left portion of that picture, you'll see the elementary school as well as the hospital. In the bottom right-hand corner, just outside of the view, is the high school in that area. And so a very heavily used area, if you could say that, in this part of the state. It's all relative, but for this area, this roundabout will be a fantastic improvement for flow and safety right here. And then on the right is the McElmo Bridge that was replaced. Great project. We had substantial coordination with our tribal partners on this project. Literally from the time it initiated till now, we're sitting at about the 6-year mark. So it has been in the works for quite some time. Next, moving north of here, 191 passing lane projects near the new Raptor State Park. This was a partnership project with the state parks. You guys may be familiar with the new state park that's there. It just got constructed last year. We put in 2 sets of passing lanes just north of that, a southbound portion and a northbound portion, and then coordinated and partnered with some of their funding to build a set of turn lanes into that new state park. This passing lane and turn lane will provide some great safety benefits for those entering and exiting the state park at a much safer rate, and also providing passing opportunities for those passing through that area. We have our Moab Canyon Trail extension to the Raptor State Park. So those that are familiar with, we have a separated path along US 191 from Moab up to Highway 313. Highway 313 goes out to Dead Horse Point State Park. The trail dead ends there. And so this project will pick up at that location at Highway 313 and carry on north to the new Utah Raptor State Park. The project will include an underpass under US 191, which will allow safe crossing for pedestrians and those utilizing the trail. Again, this will be a 12-foot path, and it will be an awesome added benefit to this area. The project is currently slated to advertise in the fall of 2026, and we will move into construction in 2027. Another trail project, so up Highway 128, this is a $12.2 million project, and that is not a typo of 0.7 miles long. You'll notice in the pictures at the bottom, this area is very confined. So to the right, we have large vertical rock walls, and to the left, we have the river. And it's extremely tight in this area. This is a gap project that's been sitting there for quite some time. This has been funded with our Utah Trail Network program. So we will install a 0.7 mile long trail connecting the gap that has a trail on either side of it. We'll use a wired face gabion basket MSE wall to protect the trail from the river. The river will be constantly flowing in that area. This will allow a much more safe passage. Right now, the picture on the bottom left, those using this trail, they come up and then they actually have to enter the roadway to travel this 0.7 miles until the other end of it. And so a very dangerous area, and we're very excited for this project to come on board. Project's currently being advertised. It will be advertised in this next spring of 2026, and then we will go into construction that summer. And to wrap up, we'd like to highlight a few of our local partnerships. Some of the projects we've seen down here over the past little while. These projects just represent the last couple of years, the current year we're in, and a few projects moving forward. We have a access improvement point. We partnered with the BLM. They're on Highway 279. A new signal at Aggie Boulevard. This project represents a phenomenal partnership. You'll notice there was 5 partners outside of UDOT that participated in this, from a developer to a university, the city, county, Sitla. Fantastic partnership as we all came together and were able to provide a much safer intersection there. And then we have a couple of a region TAP project, as well as another trail project here in the Moab area and our Pat Creek Bridge project. So there has been a lot of work happening here in the Grand and the San Juan County areas. Great part of the state, a beautiful part of the state that not only for those that live here, but those that recreate and visit here. And so there's a lot of great projects that have happened and will continue to happen. And we appreciate you coming down to see that and be a part of that. Be happy to answer any questions you have about any of those projects or anything else.
Commissioners, Carlos, any comments or questions, please?
Spanish Valley, help me with that.
So
I know my way around Moab pretty good for a lot of years, but I don't remember this Spanish Valley Trail area.
So the Spanish Valley is just south of Moab along Highway 191. So it's the developed area just south of us before the county line, where Grand and San Juan County line is right in that area. We've done a few concepts along that area. You'll actually see a project that we're presenting to the commission today about another passing lane in that area. To give you a little bit of a perspective, we did a study of a couple of miles to see about access control. And in that couple of miles, there was like 167 access points. An area that's developing very fast, and there's opportunity for us to do some improvements there. So.
I'm excited to see it. In there.
Yep. Great.
Okay, thank you. Other questions, comments? Cameron, thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks to you and everyone down here that's working on all that. Thanks so much. Is there anyone else with that?
Jim.
Please, Bruce.
Yeah, I'll just say, these Region 4 guys, again, they represent 14 counties, everything pretty much south of Provo. And for them to get around and actually look at projects that are meaningful within the whole region is just amazing to me. And I compliment them for what they do, get done, and thank the board for making funds available to a lot of this. And I think, Carlos, the 162 project was funded mostly through the federal government, and 100 and how many million? And I just know those people down in that end of San Juan County are so appreciative of what is coming and what has come, and the roundabout down there is a safety thing for them. The 2 bridges that have been built on, some of those were safety concerns as well. So thanks, Cameron, and the Region 4 team for all you've done for this area.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to compliment Region 4. As I drove in this morning, I could see that you've been dealing with some flooding, and you've taken proactive care of that. I guess that's just what we do when we live in a desert. We get a little bit. I wanted you to know, I noticed that you pushed that back and created safer things for us. Appreciate your service.
Thank you. Carlos, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Commissioner Adams, thank you for recognizing the team here. That project down in the southeast corner, you know, we initially had some federal money, I think BIA money, guys, and 50 million. And that was kind of the seed for this. But the commission certainly brought a lot of money to the table as well. And we came down, was it this spring or last spring? Was it this spring we did the groundbreaking with the lieutenant governor? Or was it last spring? Time goes awfully fast. But it was an amazing event, and to see the entire community out there, you know, they all turned out for this. This is the biggest thing that's happened in their community in a long time. And I know we all, you know, sometimes all parts of the state sometimes feel like this, that, you know, they don't feel like they're being listened to, and they certainly at that moment, and I hopefully now feel like they've been listened to. And you know, Commissioner Van Tassel, it was about, I think, 2 years ago when we really got those flash floods down here. And in San Juan County, we had some major flooding here in town, and our crews responded. We were, you know, we said, we'll come and do whatever this communities need us to do. And we don't worry about the jurisdiction. Our guys just jump in and do it. And, you know, we want to make sure that the communities see us as somebody they can call when they need help. So thank you for recognizing that.
Thank you. And thanks for the presentation. We would like to,
I got one more question.
Kevin, one more.
On the road that we're doing down on the reservation, is it part of this rebuild is that area where the road sits way up next to the hill and it's like 100 feet off down to the valley? We're getting some guardrail and some things put in there.
Yes, Kirk Thornock, Region 4 Director. Yes, that in that area where you're talking about, we are improving shoulder, putting guardrail. We're doing the reconstruct. We're putting, you know, adding shoulder, making sure that we have a recoverable area if somebody were to go off the road. So a lot of improvements there, a lot of safety to help us out.
It's been about a 20-year ask.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it to be finished and for the people in the southeast to be able to just use it and enjoy that. So.
Any questions? Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, we will now, to start our public comments, I'm going to have Mayor Joette Longanese. I try to get close, Joette, sorry. Our host mayor of Moab come up and take some moments. And after you, let's have Councilmember Knudsen Boyd come up. And then I think we also have County Commissioner, at least I know for sure, Lori Mon come up. We'll have you three, and then any other local elected officials after you want to come up before I open up to the rest of the public. So, Mayor.
Thank you. Welcome, Mayor Joette Longanese. Great to have you guys here. The last time I think you were in this area was right the day before we had a flash flood. So we were unable to come down to Monticello for that meeting, but I will have to say that our partnership with Region 4 is just exceptional. They were right here to come inspect our bridges, make sure they were safe, to help clean out the creek, to make sure that it wasn't going to get clogged. And then we had 3 more flash floods after that. So we just have a really good partnership with Region 4. We really appreciate that relationship. And we, you know, got a lot done. We understand the importance of Moab to get traffic through. We have a lot of visitors downtown, and so pedestrian safety is really important to us. And we understand the goal of the Transportation Commission is to get traffic moving, to keep commerce going. And so that's a challenge. It's a big challenge, but we've come up with some great ideas downtown to keep our pedestrians safe. Some of the signal lighting that has taken place has been wonderful on Center Street in Maine. Everybody here in Moab always asks for left-hand turn lights, or, you know, and that we know that that's a challenge also. But putting in those signals, you know, that pause is really kind of slow traffic down enough that we can make it left-hand turns off of Main Street. And we hope that we can do that on 100 South and 100 North also. We also were really looking forward to the frontage roads south of town. I know that's on the list. I think that will be really, as things grow down in Spanish Valley, we think that that would be a great addition to also keep traffic moving, but then accessing that part of our community. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Region 4. Really appreciate that partnership and looking forward to continuing working together. So welcome and come back again anytime. Oh, and I do have to say this. Yeah, in Moab, we don't ever see this many suits and ties. Usually it's flip-flops and shorts. And so it's very nice to see all you guys dress up so nicely for us in Moab today.
Mayor, thank you for letting us also use your council chambers here today to hold our meeting in this facility. Thank you so
Anytime.
much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Was that, I was going to get the scissors out and start cutting ties next time. Okay. Thank you. Council member. I think she wanted to come up and please.
Thank you for being here. I didn't know I was going to have to speak. And I will echo everything that the mayor said, and sitting on that side of the dais. We're going to have to up our game a little. We haven't ever had this many suits and ties in this room. I also appreciate the relationship that has been created between Moab and UDOT. I've been on the council a long time, and it wasn't always as congenial a relationship as it is now. And we have a very involved, very vocal community, and we hear everything that's wrong, but and we also hear what's right and what we've done well. And I, for one, appreciate you listening to us and to our community, because I know some of the things that we have asked are a little bit unorthodox and sometimes out of the scope of what you do. So again, please come back. We are so grateful that you're here and are happy to host you anytime.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. I believe we have a county commissioner, Mon from San Juan. Love to have you come up and let us know what all you fixed since you replaced Commissioner Adams.
Well, you know, the hardest part about replacing him is I don't own a cowboy hat. And so, but when I do go to meetings, I look for everyone in the hats. They're my people. I do know where to find them. So, but thank you for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to just offer some insight. And I do appreciate the effort that UDOT makes, especially in our end of the county. And when we have meetings that are around the state, you'll notice that they're north or Richfield and then to the west. So a lot of this area is overlooked. And so we appreciate the effort, especially working with the partners with Region 4 that allow us to have our voice heard, especially those projects down on the reservation. It's so remote down there, and those people feel very isolated. And so the fact that there's eyes on them and that their projects are being, you know, accepted and followed through and heard, that's very commendable, and we really appreciate that. And of course, former Commissioner Adams knows all about that. He sees the needs that are down there, and especially the increase with traffic that has come down that way. There has been a great increase. So those improvements in those bridges are very well needed. And so we appreciate that. And also I look forward to other projects. When we have spoken privately, he said, my goal is to have a freeway from Provo down to this area. I'm like, keep pushing, keep it going. So if you can help that dream be fulfilled, that would be great, especially as each of you drive down here, you see the traffic has increased substantially, and there's some very dangerous spots. And also one last thing, we do have a project it's a trail system that is being completed, and it's at the south end of the valley. It is in San Juan County, but it is Spanish Valley area that was mentioned, and it is a trail system. And so it's kind of like the trail went in first, and then we're now trying to figure out how to make it safe and workable for everyone. So we are very much in contact with UDOT and appreciate them very much working with us so that we can make this project be fulfilled and be safe for when the people come and do that. So that partnership is very key and having those relationships. So thank you for what you do. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your service. Please come forward. And as you come up, if you'd state your name and then as you address the commission. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I am Bill Winfield, Grand County Commission Chair. I would like to start off just thanking you guys for multiple projects, and I might even miss a few that you've done recently here that have made a huge improvement. And it was a big collaboration with District 4 here, Region 4 on the Aggie Boulevard light. We brought in the city of Moab also participated in that, the county, a couple of developers, USU, and then of course UDOT, and that was a huge relief and a safety issue for many people that come and go from the USU campus up there. So that one is pretty high on my list of appreciation for being able to get that installed. And so, you know, I work with Jared the most in Region 4. There's probably a whole lot of other people that I should be given credit as well, but I know Jared well, so I just appreciate all that. The Mud Springs project also that Region 4 is helping us with, Commissioner Mon just mentioned at the south end of the valley. That started out in a collaboration between myself and Mr. Adams. And then when Lori took over and improved things greatly in San Juan, no.
I'm sorry.
No, all joking aside, it was really a great start when Bruce and I were able to start that project and bring it down here of two counties collaborating on something that will help both of us out. And it's been great working with Lori in Region 4 to get access off of the highway there so that we don't have a danger issue at the bottom of that hill as you leave the valley. And then also, you know, the cleanup that's going on, somebody mentioned it already, that's out near the Arches National Park from the flooding. I just appreciate the fact that they jumped on that. We had a couple of accidents during the flooding, and all it took was a phone call and somebody showed up and started that project, and it's appreciated. It really is. And then there was one other one here, the Highway 128 bike path that was mentioned up there, the extension. I know it's a very short piece there of only 0.7 miles, and it's pretty expensive little piece to get put in there. But again, it's a huge safety issue where people were coming off of that bike path onto a very narrow section of Highway 128 on their bikes or walking. And this will just, again, it's a huge safety issue, and I'm appreciative of the money and the time you guys have invested in that. I know that Mayor Langanese also mentioned the frontage roads going south would be the start of one of my priorities or hopes that we could see in the future to be able to get some of the traffic off of 191 that really doesn't need to be there, that could be on frontage roads that are trying to access multiple points out there. So again, it's kind of a safety issue because 191 going south is doing nothing but getting busier and busier. So some frontage roads would be on my ask list if I'm allowed. And then, of course, the traffic hasn't backed up on 191 in a long time out at Arches, but I think there's room out there to possibly extend the turning lane to get off of the highway, which would be another safety concern.
This is as you're coming northbound?
As you're headed northbound, yes, so that there's just a little bit more room and it removes the slower traffic from the faster traffic lane there. So another one that kind of has a safety concern for me on it. And then both north and south, I mean, the passing lanes that have been added, especially out by the Raptor State Park and stuff, are greatly appreciated, but there's a pipeline that's definitely bottlenecked sometimes on both ends, you know, into San Juan County and north out of here, and eventually seeing 4 lanes between here and the freeway would be great, and more passing lanes to the south. And again, I mostly would just want to thank you for the safety issues that we've really accomplished here and helped to make things better for all of us. So thanks for all that you guys do.
Thanks, Commissioner, for your service. Any comments? Okay, any other, so would like to come and address the commission this morning? Please. Once again, just for the record, the minutes will state your name as you speak. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lynn Jackson and a Grand County resident, and hello to you, Senator Van Tassel. I haven't seen you for a while. I'm a longtime resident in Grand County, 43 years, and I was trying to figure out how long I've been a resident of southeastern Utah, and it started clear back in the 1900s in Carbon County when the family relocated there, and my father worked at the missile base. And so I can remember that road between Price and Green River before it looked like it does now. There was no I-70 there, and so I've seen a lot of improvements. And I was a former county commissioner here in Grand County, and I appreciate the mayor and the county commissioners getting up. They've identified, of course, some of the very specific things that they're involved with, you know, almost on a daily basis. So I just thought I would bring a little bit of perspective, and I apologize, I keep yelling into this mic, just from a longer term perspective. And as we've watched what's happened in Grand and San Juan County from a recreational standpoint with arches, with the new monuments, which some of us are, well, we'll just leave that alone, but it's certainly brought a lot of visitation and notoriety down here. What I seen when I first moved to Moab in the 80s, this was just a mining town. It was a uranium capital of the world, and there were a few river runners around, and we still actually had cowboys. And this, it's changed drastically, and it's become a playground for the Wasatch Front. And this is not news to any of you guys. So I would just encourage you guys to continue the work that you're doing along 191, the entire section, and then the road, I can't remember, it's Highway 6 going from Green River up over to Spanish Fork. I don't know if any of you have ever been caught on a Sunday afternoon going back to the Wasatch Front. I'm surprised some of the residents in the Wasatch Front don't make more noise about that. It's stop and go from Billy's Mountain all the way up to the interstate. So it's very dangerous. I don't know what the numbers are. I'm sure you guys have numbers in your region, people do, but it's extremely dangerous. So I think we appreciate the work all the way from up in that region all the way down to Monticello and even Blanding now with this Bears Ears and the visitation they're seeing. You know, we need more passing lanes between Monticello and Moab, and for sure, the ones that have been put in are great. The ones that are, I would echo, I think what one of the elected officials said, it'd be nice to have a freeway all the way to Spanish Fork, but I would suggest a 4-lane road between I-70 and Moab is certainly in order, and eventually I'll bet that's what your plans are. There are just a few sections left, and I think that'll greatly help. And then the road fixes from Green River, the passing lanes have been added the last, I don't know, 10 years have really helped, but there's another place to stay focused on. And so I'm just here as a citizen saying we're down here, we want to host the Wasatch Front and the playground, but let's make it safe and for people to come down, and it certainly helps our towns and communities. So anyway, I appreciate you guys being here, and thank you very much. It's good to see a couple of old familiar faces. So good work. Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. Any others that would like to address the commission this morning? Going once, going twice. Okay, we're good. Thank you. Do we have anyone online or any written comments that came in, Heather? Okay, thank you. We'll close the public comment section. Let's go to item number 4, the UDOT scoreboard. I believe Josh and Troy are going to present to us today on the scoreboard. Thanks for being here to do that.
Good morning, commissioners. Josh Sletton, Project Development. Wasn't planning to talk about safety. I could try.
Switch it up.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
Touchscreen. Give a quick update on project development. Take me a second to find it.
You see Region 4 on that map, Brad?
Okay. Since the fiscal year started new in July 1st, you can see that we've been 91% on time. We do have a few projects outstanding, but out of 82, we're at about 91%. Here's where we stand on projects. Got about 6.7 billion out there right now, total of 336 projects. You'll see on the next slide. Sure.
Make sure everyone hears that. What's the dollar amount?
7 billion. Billion, yeah. Yeah, that's total. That's looking forward to, and everything that's in construction. Yeah. The number looking forward to 2030, it's closer to 22 billion or something. Yeah. Yeah, there's an awful lot of work, to say the least, both on the books and coming up. So, as you can see here, under contract, it's about 2.5 billion. If you look at the number on the left, right between 2 and 3. Contractor payments are down just a little bit. We've got some big projects that are just getting going. And so I think you'll see that go up dramatically, but we're a little lower than we have been running. Still close to 200 projects though. And you can see our contractor payments. It's running about what we expect this time of year. The reason November is low right there is just because we're only a week or two into it. But with the good weather and a lot of projects still going, we expect that number to come right up where you see October, pretty close to it.
Can you go back to that? Who's running your slide?
I've got it.
Yeah, so that's calendar days. So if you look at October, it's just under $150 million. And so that's how much is going, we're paying out every calendar day. Think about that in the month of October to the contractors. So that's
5 million a day.
5 million a day.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And more than one way. Not only the stimulus, but we get people to and from work.
That's the one that's harder to measure.
I think the takeaway here, we're still seeing very competitive bids. We're seeing more bids on most projects, and they continue to come in below engineer's estimate. So I think we're trying to dial in our engineer's estimates, of course, but we are just continuing to see much more favorable pricing than we have in recent years. I think that's about all I have for the update, but
I mean, so, I think most of the commissioners remember that we normally program a 5% inflation per calendar year into projects because we're programmed out quite a few years. And then in 21, we saw a 16% overall increase in project cost, and it dropped to 12%, then down to 8%. And if you take the size of the program that Josh mentioned, and you then think about that, differential between 5 and 16 and 12 and 8, we were then trying to catch up to what the costs were coming in. And so, we worked with the commission, re-estimated projects, brought more money to it, and now it's starting to, so this is a natural ebb and flow. So we're always trying to, we tend to try to catch the market a little bit. So we're going to continue, probably continue to see this adjustments taking place. There's still a fair amount of uncertainty in the market.
Please. I was just going to say, I actually looked along with having the engineering estimate the entirety because the alternative is we don't finish it right.
Well, it means we can't award it. So, if it comes in above, 10% above the engineer's estimate, we can't award that project. And so we want to make sure we can try to award that project as long as we know we have a competitive bid. And then when you'll see your
yeah, and our tendency is to lag the market a little bit because it just takes a certain amount of information to come in so that we can incorporate it into our estimates. But our estimates will always lag the market by several months.
Any other questions, comments? Hey, thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Jim,
Sure.
to Kevin's comment, is 6.2 billion, 6,000 millions?
A lot of pennies, Bruce.
And we don't make those anymore. So. You're so-
I think what's significant is where it falls within the state budget. This is not one of the other states that has its budgets. Don't have a big budget. Yet we find
We put it for the roads because we need it. Yep.
keep up with everything. I thought Jim was.
I'm not a math guy. That's how I'm doing this. Nagi might have been a math guy, but I'm not a math guy. So I can communicate a little, but I'm not a math guy. Please, Troy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Troy Peterson, Operations Director at UDOT. And I'm going to take the next few minutes and talk about our zero fatalities portion of our strategic direction. I'll show, first thing I'd like to highlight is our fatality rate. You can see that continually dropping. We're currently sitting at 0.70. And this has been a steady decrease since 2021. Obviously, the lower the rate, the safer our roadways are, which is a testament to all the work that we do here. Talking about money we're spending on improving our system. We're seeing dividends in a lot of areas, and this is one of them. Our VMT, our vehicle miles traveled, we're currently sitting for 2025 at 32 billion vehicle miles traveled. That's a steady climb as well since 2020 when we had that dip during obviously COVID. I'm guessing that we'll see another increase by the end of the year and probably be the highest we've ever seen in terms of vehicle miles traveled by the time we get to the end of the year. This value is only through the middle part of November, so we've still got another month and a half to add to our vehicle miles traveled. Next thing I'd like to jump down to real quick is I don't like to jump down to this graph, but I feel like we probably, since we're talking about zero fatalities, we probably ought to talk about it. Currently sitting at about 227 fatalities for the year. which is down from last year at this time. Last year at this time, we were 240. Another trend going in the direction we'd like to see, although we're not to the actual goal of 0, we are making progress. You'll see this orange line on here. This is our target reduction. I just wanted to, because I know we have some new faces, and I just want to make sure that understand what the target versus the, well, let's just say the green. Is that green? That's blue. The blue line versus the orange line. So the blue is actual, and the orange is our target reduction. And we do the reduction, basically take 3 prior years, average the fatalities, and reduce it by 2.5%. And that's what you see on each of these graphs as we move forward from the fatalities and crashes. And we're sitting about, let's see, 250. We are about 12% lower on our fatalities for the year than our target reduction. Let me jump back up to this. I'm sorry, what was that?
The vulnerable users.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the vulnerable users right now. Part of that 227, we have a total of 104 vulnerable user fatalities, which comprises our motorcycles, our pedestrian, and our bicyclists. You'll see that we have 66 fatalities in the motorcycle riders, 30 pedestrians, and 8 bicyclists. One thing I you know, obviously is going up. It's kind of interesting. We're working with our highway safety officer to try to understand why we may be seeing some spikes in this area. The other one thing that's interesting when you look at fatalities from a pedestrian standpoint is we're seeing a little lower number. So that's great. I don't have an answer for why motorcycle fatalities are going up, but we're definitely looking to see if we can find out if there's any trends or any clues that would lead us to where we can focus efforts to help in that area. By way of comparison, that's in our vulnerable users, that's roughly 46% of all of our fatalities are affecting our vulnerable users category. And by and large, I think it's 29% of all fatalities are motorcyclists. So was there a question?
Well, this year in 2025, I'm not the math guy, these other guys are, but that's about 70% of the fatalities.
So 66% of I'm sorry, 63% of our vulnerable road user fatalities are motorcyclists. And that compromises, that's 29% or almost 30% of our total fatalities for all fatalities on our roads are motorcyclists. Yes. Please.
So are you tracking, you know, I was an avid motorcycle rider for a lot of years. But I always, you know, we had the helmet laws and we had those particular things. We had, obviously, lawmakers have done some things with motorcycles where you can come up to a light between other ones.
Lane filtering.
Yeah, lane filtering. And have we tracked where those particular things coming from the legislature have affected high rate? Could we attribute any of those things to this rise in motorcycle? I guess what I'm trying to say is that a cause and effect relationship that we can identify?
If it's reported or there's witnesses that we have validation on that, then yes, the answer would be yes. We would be able to validate if there, let's say a motorcyclist was lane filtering and there was a crash that as a result of that. Now, the one thing we don't know is, you can't always say, well, was it the motorcyclist that caused that, or was it the driver it was in? But that would have contributed to some of those.
Those aren't usually fatal accidents when you do a lot of lane filtering. You've got lines of cars and someone goes up through. I've seen a couple where they cut a mirror and it's knocked them into another car, so they're damaged. And it keeps a lot of delay there as they try to investigate that and things of that nature. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of fatal accidents. still it seems to be an increase in fatal accidents with motorcycles, even yesterday again, as I was watching the news. I wonder if there's anything that can track that the laws or the cause and effect of the legislature has an impact on.
We're definitely working with our partners in our DPS, our highway safety office, to see if we can, if there are trends in that help to contribute to that. And in those situations that you mentioned, is it lane filtering? Are they people using the lane filtering and confused and using lane splitting on the, thinking that's okay and that might be contributing, but that's not something that it's legislatively said you're allowed to do. So we do track, and anything we have information, we're trying to categorize those to be able to answer questions like that. What is contributing to these, so we can to help.
If there was some way, even if we had to look at the legislature to give us some way to track that rather than just free flow it.
We do track all these trends. The lane filtering was sold by, in the legislature as a safety measure. It hasn't been in effect long enough to really collect what I believe is statistically significant data to look at trends. That's really important on the safety side of things, because there is a lot of, if you start to react to individual crashes, individual events, you're starting to chase things around. And so we need to look at trends, and this has to be driven by statistics. And that's what our teams do. We have data scientists that work with the highway safety office to try to do that. And so this is not supported by data. This is by my feel. There's just more motorcyclists out there, and there's more users. And the legislature about 5 years ago made it so that, the new drivers up until 21 needed to wear helmets. After that, helmets are optional. And so all of that type of information is captured, we track it, and we use that. We won't make recommendations to the legislature unless we can support it with data. So, great questions.
Now, to get that answer would be quite a feat in itself, to be able to do that. But it would be good if we could track that stuff.
And to be able to isolate it as well to a single cause, because there's lots of, just think about crashes for drivers. You think about distractions. Everyone says phones. Well, that's a hard thing for law enforcement after a crash. When they document a crash, how do they know somebody was distracted? And so national studies are telling us that, distractions can play a role in about 65% of all crashes, whether it's phone or, trying to pull something out of your briefcase while you're driving, whatever it might be. But it's sometimes hard to isolate to a single issue that you can then try to tackle either legislatively or through enforcement or engineering.
Okay,
No, it's good.
Good
That's
question.
why we
Good
want to have
question.
these.
Yep, no, thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, we'll move on here real quick. We'll jump down here. Suspected serious traffic injuries. We're trending a little about, 17% higher on the suspected serious traffic injuries. And once again, suspected serious traffic injuries is something that the law enforcement officer, when he's attending to the crash, is making a judgment call as to the seriousness of the crash. And we don't follow up on those unless that injury turns into a fatal, in which then that would be represented in our fatal numbers. But that's more or less that's a serious crash, and that's a judgment call by the officer attending at that time. So we're sitting well over 1,600 of those in the year, which is higher, like I mentioned, 17 higher than our target reduction, which is about 1,300. Total crashes on the year, we're over the 43,000 crashes. That's all levels of crashes, from property damage only to more serious crashes. Currently, we're about 2% below the target reduction on that one, which we haven't seen a year other than 2020 where our actual number was lower than our reduction number. So let's just hope the next month and a half continues on that trend. That'd be great to have that. With that, I always like to end my conversation here with the commission with emphasizing the reminder of the 5 safe driving habits, and that's always wear a seatbelt, drive focused, calm, and alert, and obviously sober. So with that, if there's any questions.
Any questions?
Maybe add to that, Troy. And driving in some other places where the traffic is a lot different. You know, I picked up on what truck drivers do. One of the safest things is to be able to check your left mirror, check your right mirror, check your rear mirror. You have a system where you're checking it, because by way of example, some of the states where they allow lane studies on motorcycles, you never see it. And so you want to go change lanes, and if you haven't been watching before you know, turn the steering wheel and then look at the rear, you're in trouble. So I think some of those things might be helpful for regular drivers to start to learn, is to do the same thing truck drivers are told to do. You're checking your mirrors, checking everything, and maybe that will avoid some of these accidents.
Yes. Thank you. Any others? I have a question, kind of, since we're talking safety now, it's either going to be you or Carlos, have someone else, but when the mayor alluded to this, when we came into town, I think Jared Summer mentioned to us that the lights, and she mentioned this, that the delayed light red for 5 or 6 seconds. Can someone explain how that works? That's a fascinating little thing that you do that I learned today to help allow the pedestrians to be seen, go across before the lights turn green. So can you explain how that works?
Yeah, my name is Jared Beard. I'm the Deputy Director for UDOT Region 4. Yeah, working with Moab, but obviously a high concern with pedestrians in Moab. It's, as has been mentioned, it's the Wasatch Front's playground. So we do have a lot of pedestrians. One of the things that we have implemented just at Center Street to kind of test it out, see how it works, is what's called a leading pedestrian interval. And that's where when the lights change, you hold all the lights red for 5 or 6 seconds to allow the pedestrians a bit of a head start into the intersection. Makes them much more visible as they cross the road, traffic sees them. You have less conflicts with the turning movements, not seeing them. Seems to have worked fairly well. As the feedback I've been getting, it's very working well, and they would like to see it expanded to some other intersections. So we are going to look into expanding that to other intersections here in Moab.
Thank you. It's good to hear that. And I think something simple, relatively simple, and not costing a lot of money to just lengthen the program of the lights. So,
Especially right turn.
yeah, especially right turns.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Please, anything else?
I have nothing.
Okay.
Just making sure.
Thank you. Thanks, Troy.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay, well, they're consulting, let's see. Okay, item number 5, Utah Trail Network update. Boy, this has been getting a lot of publicity at the conference with the governor and.
I know, yeah, everyone open it.
I'll hold it up. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'd love to have you introduce yourself for the record and then take some
Yeah.
time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner, Chair, and Commissioner Gochner online. So my name is Stephanie Tomlin. I'm the Trails Division Director at UDOT. Really appreciate this opportunity to give it what's been going on. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes here to discuss the Utah Trail Network Master Plan map. So that was the map itself is what was unveiled at the transportation conference by none other than Governor Cox. It was a really exciting moment for UDOT because this represents a lot of work towards envisioning what this Utah Trail Network will look like and will be built out to over many decades. So the map, yes, I'm glad you're all taking a look at that. The map that you have in front of you is that visionary map. To be very clear, on this map, you're seeing both existing paved trail projects as well as proposed trail projects that will become part of the Utah Trail Network. We also gave you a lapel pin, so don't lose that. It's somewhere amongst your things. But so yeah, let me just jump in. I'm going to talk through a couple of different items here. I'm going to first remind everyone of what the Utah Trail Network is. I'm going to then talk about how we got to this point of having a map that you're able to unfold and take a look at, because it represents over 1.5 years of work, a lot of different engagement opportunities with our stakeholders and the experts in the room here, I'm then gonna talk about the network itself, because while this map that you're seeing in front of you, you're seeing red lines, the map that has more detail on our website really breaks down the different project types. So I'm gonna quickly touch on those. And then I'm going to discuss how this affects the work that you all do on the commission related to programming for the Utah Trail Network funds. And then a quick reminder on the fact that you already have programmed 19 projects using some of the Utah Trail Network funding, 2 of which were just mentioned by Cameron in Region 4. So I'll just give a quick overview of how that's going. Okay, so a reminder, the Utah Trail Network, this was proposed and then approved as part of Senate Bill 185 during the 2023 legislative session. This allocates $45 million one-time and $45 million ongoing funding to UDOT for planning, design, construction, operation, and reconstruction or renovation of paved pedestrian or non-motorized trail projects. It calls out explicitly in the legislation that these projects are prioritized by you on the Transportation Commission. They must serve a regional purpose, and they're part of an active transportation plan or a statewide network plan. What you're seeing in front of you is that statewide network plan. So that's to kind of tie it together. That funding then made it possible for UDOT to create the Trails Division. So there's now 4 of us within the Trails Division. We're tasked with overseeing this program. So what are we trying to do with this? What are we trying to achieve here? We're trying to create a network of paved trails that is connecting Utahns of all ages and abilities to their destinations and to their communities. We're really emphasizing providing transportation options for folks. They can jump on a bike, a scooter, they can walk to their destinations, maybe their place of work, grocery stores, places of worship. It's really to create alternative transportation options. We of course know, and Moab is a great example of this, these trails are also used for recreation, but we do want to emphasize that we're trying to encourage people to use these trails for transportation as well. Comfortable and reliable. This means that they are separated from the roadway. This is not striped bike lanes along a roadway. They're separated trails to be comfortable. And we'll look at overcrossings or undercrossings where there's a complicated intersection. This network is also representing the regional spine or backbone. We cannot build every trail for everyone, so that's why we developed this master plan map, is we're really emphasizing, in the same way UDOT's roads are the regional routes, this trail network is representing the regional routes, with then local connections will tie into this network to make it work seamlessly. These are some examples of what we're trying to achieve here. You can see people with backpacks riding on the trail, as well as carved out, separated space for people with wheels versus people walking. You can see it's creating kind of vibrancy within communities. We are not building this. As I emphasized, this is about separated trails for comfort and safety. Okay, so this announcement that was made was monumental in a couple of ways, one of which it represented, as I said, 1.5 years of work. The other thing is that there was no instruction manual. We're really unique, the state of Utah, in having this funding. We couldn't look to other states on how do we develop a master plan for something like this. So we had to develop this idea and these steps ourselves. So just wanted to point that out, that this is new for both UDOT, but arguably for the entire nation. So we developed a process with around 6 steps, and I'm going to quickly step through them, but it emphasized 3 major components. One was working with our stakeholders. I think has been emphasized by Carlos and the governor since the very beginning. A lot of communities across the state are already doing great work. How can we stitch that work together? So it was a lot of stakeholder engagement. We then emphasized a data-driven process because there are a lot of trails that we considered, and we had to have an objective way of evaluating which ones are a part of the Utah Trail Network and which ones are local trails. And then, of course, expertise that we have at UDOT, but as well within our planning partners like MPOs and AOGs. So I'll step through our process. We started in the fall of 2024 with stakeholder workshops and focus groups. So during that time, we heard from over 500 people across the state at 11 different workshops and 15 focus group calls. Those focus group calls were with areas of things like economic development, tourism, universities, and the stakeholder workshops were with elected officials and professional staff in our cities and towns across the state. You can see people poring over maps, literally, trying to help us determine which trails were the best ones for the Utah Trail Network. The next thing we did was jump into this data-driven project evaluation. So we took everything we heard from those workshops, any planned project or any planned trail project from the unified plan, any active transportation planned projects in local communities, as well as existing regional trails, and we ran them through a rigorous data-driven process. Those four icons that are in this box are the UVision components of strong economy, good health, better mobility, and connected communities. So this is the pillars of the quality of life framework. So we based our criteria for evaluating these project ideas on the UVision framework. So I'm not going to get into detail on exactly everything that went into this, but just to say these are those criteria really tailored towards those four pillars, as well as what's going to make a great regional trail. Next, we refined the network, because what happened when we took all of those trail ideas and ran them through this data-driven process, what we found, the top scoring projects, it was a rather haphazard looking network. Kind of imagine spaghetti thrown against the wall. So we really needed to refine that network and make it make sense. So through that process, we were addressing gaps that we were seeing in the network. We were addressing any major barriers, which often are like big roadways, maybe some geographic barriers, waterways, things like that. Any redundancies in the network we also took a look at, and then we connected longer distances together with vision projects. Next, we really got our experts, again, in this room behind me, as well as our planning partners at MPOs and AOGs together to refine this network and we refined and tweaked our network based on their feedback. So here's just a little snapshot at the messy, behind the curtains of us refining this network and making sure it was really representing the network we wanted to see. So we are here right now, which is stakeholder webinars. I emailed to all the commissioners a couple weeks ago. We're offering 2 stakeholder webinars at these. Again, this is not public. This is not public. This is not necessarily open to the public. It's open to all those planning partners that helped us in those workshops back last fall. We're hoping that they can help us understand, out of these trail projects, by the way, there's over 1,000 of trail projects on there, which ones have priority and local support and momentum, because we would sure like to focus on those, to program those for funding sooner. So this is going to be a great opportunity. We had one earlier this week, very, very well attended. We have another one next week. So this was, this was the registration link that went out to those stakeholders. And then we're wrapping up the full Utah Trail Network Master Plan kind of in March of 2026. So now let's talk then about the network. I just went through the process we went through to get there. This network is comprised of 3 project types. And this is important because it really does demonstrate kind of how we will think about constructing and planning this network. So let's start with the green on the left, which is the base network. So if you go to our website and look at our map there, you'll see projects called out in these colors. Our base network are projects that scored really highly in that data-driven process I discussed. They also had been previously identified on either a local plan or that unified transportation plan. They're more prominent, they're more ready to go sooner. But then the next project category is gap closures. So these are areas where the base network didn't come together, but we knew that we needed to make that connection to really have like the redundancy in the network that we would need. So we planned, or we called out gap closure projects to say, we need to study this. If we won't just go and construct a gap closure, we're gonna first study it, decide where it makes the most sense to put this route, and then go from there. Lastly, vision projects, vision corridors. These will require significant capital investment, and they will definitely require a study before anything can happen. They represent long distances. They will sometimes go through canyons that would pose really significant construction challenges. However, it's important for us to call these out, right? Because this is our master plan. This represents the big picture, the big vision of where we want to go. So you'll see those on our network as well. This just gives you a little bit of a sense of how this all gets stitched together then, right? So you have your base network. The solid green line are existing trails that are on our base network. The dashed are proposed. But then take a look at when I add those gap projects, right? You're seeing then that things are creating, there's more connection. And then if I add those vision corridors, right, you can see, you can see how that adds yet another layer of completeness to the network. So the statistics for this network, when it's totally built out, we would be connecting 95% of Utahns would be within 1 mile of a Utah Trail Network route, which is very significant. We're creating that connectivity we're hoping to achieve. 96% of Utah jobs would be within 1 mile of a route. This is connecting over 208 Utah cities and towns together. We're connecting to 74 different high capacity transit stations, 4 national parks and 25 state parks. So I think we're achieving, again, a high level of connectivity. I won't kind of go into detail on this, but this just outlines some of the mileage by UDOT region. You can see here that there's a lot, the existing base route in the green is actually relatively consistent across all 4 of our regions. It's then where, we're seeing obviously a big jump in Region 4 in those visionary corridors. That's because Region 4 is the largest landmass of the regions. And so there's just more mileage to cover. So if we look at mileage kind of just overall, so if we take out those vision projects, our network is around 1,700 miles, and 500 miles of which are existing trails that are designated as a Utah Trail Network trail. But we're talking about 3,100 miles total with those vision projects. So how can you expect to see this master plan map influence the work that you all will be doing related to programming? So I want to say first, we're still wrapping up, as I mentioned, the full master plan. What was announced was the map, but we're expecting that to be complete by March of 2026. Within that full master plan, we're going to finalize our maintenance strategy. We're also going to conclude some work we've been doing with this concept of trail towns. Trail towns is how can communities leverage the Utah Trail Network to get kind of the most bang for the buck. We'll also be working on trail typologies to kind of guide the design and planning of Utah Trail Network improvements. And very importantly, if you get questions from constituents in terms of how are we going to be updating the Utah Trail Network map, well, that's going to occur in conjunction with our long range and regional transportation plans. So every 4 years, we'll be making updates. So you will see this map put to work as soon as the next STIP workshop. So we've transitioned in the Trails Division and UDOT regions to kind of focusing now on, okay, great, we have this map. Which projects are we going to be considering for funding soonest? So we're gonna go through and pick projects in those 4 categories there: top scoring projects, stakeholder excitement and project momentum, unified plan projects, phase 1 and 2, and past feasibility studies to determine a smaller subset of around 40 to 60 projects that we will consider for funding this programming cycle. So you will see in May, June of 2026 projects, Utah Trail Network projects. And then moving forward, we do anticipate programming every STIP workshop, Utah Trail Network projects. Okay, last little point I want to make here is a reminder that In May of 2024, the commission approved 19 projects within the Utah Trail Network program. So I want to just mention quickly where the status of those projects. So you funded 5 feasibility studies and 14 final design and construction projects. So all of the 5 feasibility studies will be wrapped up in the first quarter of 2026. These are critical because they help us understand better where the trail will go and some of the details associated with environmental and things like that. So these have been very helpful in our planning process. And then next we have those 14 final design and construction projects. You can see these charts. The blue one is demonstrating the projected advertising in the fall, winter, spring, summer, and then projected construction start. I think it's, just suffice it to say that all of those design projects are moving forward. And actually, as Cameron mentioned, he talked to you about the 2 that are in this area, the Raptor State Park connection, as well as the Colorado River Trail Gap. So they're all moving very well. So that concludes the update that I had for you. Are there any questions?
Who's going to be responsible for setting the rules and trails? Will there be an attempt to have a unified set of rules?
That is a great question. We are working, right now, there's not necessarily that unified set of rules that you're mentioning. I think something full statewide would require something at the legislature. So we are currently following any legislative requirements. So that's significant though for things like e-bikes. We're following legislation for what's considered an e-bike. We allow e-bikes on these trails. But yeah, we'll be looking at things like signage, etiquette signage, to make sure people understand who they should be yielding to. And there's also just as an example, you cannot take a motorized device on these trails. So things that are not primarily human propulsion. You can't have ATVs. You also can't have equestrian use on these trails. So those are, again, dictated within the statute.
Well, as a bike rider, you go to different places and get different rules.
Yes.
And we have an aging community of which I am one. And, e-bikes are
yes.
kind of save it once you get on one. It's really hard to walk. But there's a difference between one.
Yes.
But what happens is you can actually ride someplace. All of a sudden you can't use your bike.
Yeah.
There's also different speed limits. There's a lot of things that are different. And so you're going to have a uniform trail. You've seen that if I want to ride from, say, nowhere, I want to go all the way up to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
But I can't go on a particular gap because they have a rule which makes it difficult.
Right.
They don't allow 9-inch bikes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so it seems important if it's going to be a statewide rule, it's a statewide trail.
Yes, we'll definitely work with our partners on that. I think it's a really good point and something that we have brought up. We don't want it to feel inconsistent. We want it, when you're on a UTN route, we want you to know it through some of those consistencies. So we'll be working with our partners on how to achieve that for sure. It's a great point. Yes, pedals. Yep. Yeah. But, yeah, those are, electric motorcycles, I think what you're referring to. So those would not be legally allowed on these trails. Yeah.
It'll go 40 miles an hour, but it has a pedal. Okay, but it's also got a throttle. And I think there's a big difference between what I use on a mountain bike, which is E1.
Yes.
If it wants to go, I have to go.
Right.
Oh, thank you. I can't see on this screen that she's raised. Commissioner Godfrey, please.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. Not a really important comment. Stephanie, that's just an amazing report. And I can't believe how far we've come. And I'm just so grateful for our state leaders for seeing the vision here. And I think this is something that will benefit us for generations. So I was really enthused by your presentation.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Just getting started.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're now item 6, Ivan, the Ivan Harlow Show. Agenda, no, okay. You do a lot of great work.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ivan Hartle, Financial Programming. Our item number 6 is the consent agenda for your review and approval. This includes the minutes for the September 2025 area tour and the September 26th Transportation Commission meeting minutes, as well as a list of projects. These projects included have either been awarded, have been identified with some budget amounts that can be recovered, or in the closeout process, and they're ready to remove and reprogram the funding. So located here, our area tour minutes while we were in Kanab. As well as the next day, the Transportation Commission meeting. And the minutes are included for your review. And the last item is the project's returning funding. And we've been busy. It's been fun.
Been busy. Wonderful.
Our request today is a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Had a chance to review these. Any questions? If not, we look for a motion for approving the consent agenda. Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. Moving a second. Any further discussion, questions? Just push the vote. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, if any.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Item 6 is approved. Item 7.
Moving to item 7, and this is kind of a fun link, as Carlos and Josh talked about earlier. It's always cheaper to do the project as fast as we can, initiate it as fast as we can. Last month, when we were in Kanab, we were able to move $200 million out of our Reconstruct program from a project. And this month, we're bringing a project from in the reconstruction program to begin putting that money to work as soon as possible. So our first item, 7A-1, is to replace the Long Bridge over Weaver River in Region 1. The scope of the project is to replace the bridge over Weaver River, locally known as the Long Bridge, and built in 1967. It has been rehabilitated 6 times, the last one in 2024. So located here on our map. And then we have a zoomed in section. The side view of the structure. And our request today is a motion to approve adding the I-84, replace the F-153, the Long Bridge over Weaver River project to the current STIP as detailed.
So we have a motion. We have a second, and then I'd ask, are there any questions about this at all?
Just walk under it one time and see it.
Yeah.
That's my echo. I did that.
Okay, you did it too. Wonderful.
You know,
It's, you know why it's called the Long Bridge?
sometimes you should see how sausage is made.
Yeah, okay. Good. Any other comments? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any?
Aye.
Thank you. Item A1 is approved.
Mr. Chair, if I could, if any of the commissioners would like, I know we have some new commissioners, going out with our bridge inspection crews is a pretty cool day. So if you're interested in that, let Lisa know and she can help arrange that. But you'll get a sense of our bridges are safe and we're watching these bridges all the time. But get a sense of what those professionals do every single day. So if you're interested, let us know.
Like the one a year or so ago, whenever it was down by Vail or whatever, where it wasn't safe enough and you had to take people off one, and that's what we do. You shouldn't be driving on it. So, okay. Thank you. Thanks for that offer. Commissioners, let's take them up on that. Item number 2.
7A-2 is SR 177, State Road 193 to 1800 North. This is additional funding and scope request from our Transportation Investment Fund. The original scope was to build a single lane in each direction. Funding was approved in February 2023 commission to begin the design, right-of-way, utility design, and one lane in each direction. Once the design progressed and traffic volumes were updated, the project team determined that a continuation of the two-lane freeway was needed. Additional scope was also identified while working on the final details of the northern limit at 1800 North, where operations of the new traffic patterns widening along 1800 North on the east side was necessary. This includes widening of the Canal Box Culvert crossing on SR 37 or 1800 North on the to the east in the immediate vicinity of the future interchange. So located here on our map, highlighted in blue. And our request today is a motion to approve additional funding and scope to the SR 177, SR 193 to 1800 North project as detailed.
Okay, we have a motion. Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. The motion and second. Are there any questions on this or comments on this one? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, if any. Item 7A2 is approved.
Thank you. 7A-3 is moving to Region 2. The Big Cottonwood Canyon SR 190 at Fort Union Merge Lane and Left Dual. This is an abandoned project and a transfer of the remaining funding to the Enhanced Bus Tolling Mobility Hub and Bus Stop project as shown on our graphic. The current scope of the SR 190 at Fort Union Merge Lane and Dual Left project is to install a merge lane up SR 190 from Wasatch Boulevard to the river crossing and then add dual lefts from Wasatch Boulevard to go up the canyon. While progressing through the design process, the cost estimates increased from 15 million to 28 million. The additional costs no longer justify the operational benefits. UDOT recommends that the project be abandoned. The existing design and data collected with the project will be used in the future Cottonwood Canyon projects. The funding for this project was originally part of the Enhanced Bus Tolling Mobility Hub and bus stops and will be transferred back to PIN 21207. So located here on our map. Our request today is a motion to remove funds from the SR 190 at Fort Union Merge Lane and Dual Left project as detailed.
Natalie, any comment or emotion on this?
I can't say that I'm truly understanding this. Maybe it's because I'm online, but is there a map version of this?
Are we not sharing?
Is it- Kendall, talk about why the operation piece, the choke point, just going up the canyon. So, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay.
Yeah, please.
Kendall Draney, Region 2 Program Manager. So here, and Natalie, I know hopefully you're being able to see the map.
Yeah, I do see it. Thank you.
So the dual lefts were coming, and I'll try to use the mouse to help me explain here. As you were coming down and then going up into the canyon, we were trying to do a merge lane up through here. And the additional costs are coming because of the walls that were going to be needed, but it doesn't truly alleviate the choke point because just up here by the water plant, right where that structure was at, the choke point then lies again to get everyone back down to a single lane. And so there wasn't enough distance to be able to solve the issues of backing back up into the intersection to see that benefit for the dollar amount that was increased in the cost based off of that.
Mr. Chair, that helps, and I'm prepared to make a motion for this.
Okay. We have a motion to approve from Natalie. Do we have a second? Okay. Thank you. Any further questions or discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed, if any. Item 7A3 is approved.
I do love having smart friends. So thank you. Our next item, 7A-4, this is a SR 201, still in Region 2, for structure preservation. This is a new project from the Transportation Solutions Program. The scope of the SR 201 for structure preservation project will repair 4 bridge decks by applying a structural pothole patch and sealant. The bridges will be repaired are on the I-80 on-off ramps and 2 bridges just west of 9180 west. So located here on our map, you can see them on the left side of the graphic, as well as on the right side of the graphic. There's some images of the potholes on the structures.
How do we repair that type of situation when is it a cement structure? And then you're talking about, how do you go over and fix that? Okay. I saw several places on the freeway where we tried and it's coming up.
That Josh.
Oh, Josh is gonna, Lisa, Josh is gonna. Thank you, Josh.
It's not easy.
Introduce
I'll start
yourself.
with that.
Introduce yourself.
That's your answer, it's not easy.
Josh Sletton, Project Development. You have to chip down the concrete out down to the bottom mat of bar. You patch back in with a mortar or a concrete, and then it looks like there's an overlay on this one. So we put probably a thin bonded, like a polymer overlay over it. That didn't help at all.
I understand what you're doing. I guess,
So we take jackhammers,
Well,
you
Maybe start with why does this happen? You know, with the
Okay.
bars.
Well, there's a lot of reasons it happens, but anytime you get a crack in concrete, we have a lot of freeze thaw. So you're going to get that ice trying to knock out the concrete at the top layer. That's why we do a lot of overlays, so we don't have the moisture and salt getting down in there. But once it does, and concrete does always crack over time, especially when you're beating on it with truck traffic, especially, bridges move a little bit, it's going to start potholing over time. When that happens, you have to take out all of that bad concrete so you go in there, jackhammer it out, and then square it up and pour in new concrete and overlay it.
So it's very labor intensive.
So longevity is when you fix something like that, you jackhammer it out and you're actually putting cement back in and then you overlay the top.
That's right.
To seal it.
With a polymer overlay, we don't like to do, it's not like an asphalt because those are still permeable.
Yeah.
But if you use a polymer, the water doesn't get in there, in theory. Yeah, it's not a great long-term fix. We do those, we expect them to last maybe 10 years. But that's why you see, once a deck starts to go, we can Band-Aid it along for 10 years or so. But eventually we'll have to go in and do a more intrusive treatment. Or a deck replacement or something like that. So.
I'm just thinking more of longevity. Is this like fix it and let it go for a couple of years or this can last 10?
If it's done right, it can last, yeah.
And it depends what percentage of the deck. I mean, it's really hard sometimes to know how much of the concrete is going bad underneath that seal. And so they'll open up the deck and it's just trying to chase the concrete to get to a solid spot. Now, depending on when the bridge is, we went to green bar, so epoxy coated rebar, probably late 80s, early 90s. You know, bridges built before that pretty much had a 45-year design life. We have hundreds and hundreds of bridges on the system that were really designed for that. And we're just extending the life as much as we can to try to get as much out of it as we can. When we went to green bar, you know, the theory was we get 50, you know, now we're even talking 75 years. Well, I'll hold my breath on, I won't hold my breath on that one.
You retired before that?
I will probably be retired before that, or pushed out before that. Maybe, what do they say? Spending more time with family and friends.
Never pushed out, we retired.
But this is a situation we're chasing more and more. We worked with the commission probably 2 years ago, and we actually had to, programmatically move more money from high volume roads, pavements back to over to bridges, because our bridge condition, if you look at our strategic document, our bridge condition is starting to go down statewide. And so we're just chasing older bridges.
And we'll continue.
And we will continue.
Sure. All right. Thank you. That was just a little information for me.
Yeah.
How long?
Carlos mentioned to get out and look at a bridge inspection on the under bridge inspection crane. They could probably show you how they sound. So our bridge inspectors look at every deck in the state once every 2 years, and they take time to sound it. A delaminated piece of concrete sounds hollow, so it's very easy to identify. But the reason these projects come about is information that comes out of that inspection program.
I really want to get on this new truck and go on these bridges on a warm day.
They're gonna take you out in January.
That's highway.
A warm day.
Up in
It's
Vernal,
Highway
January.
36 uses that.
36, is that Tooele?
Yes.
What's the question?
This is Highway 36 uses this. We use these bridges to access Highway 36.
These bridges here are the 201 connection into 80, which then 36 is just a little further west.
Okay, any other questions?
Thanks for letting me talk about bridges for a little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve.
Item number 4. Do we have a second? I think we have a motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any? 7A4 is approved.
Thank you. Our next item, 7A-5, this is Springville 1600 South Phase 3, 1200 West to SR 51, which is a funding addition. That's a combination of our the TIF program and then a local betterment as well. The scope of the Springville 1600 South Phase 3, 1200 West to SR 51 project is to provide 2 travel lanes in each direction and an active transportation path on the north side of the corridor from 1200 West to SR 51 in Springville. The project also includes an upgraded at-grade railroad crossing for the Tintic Rail line near the 1200 West intersection in cooperation with the Union Pacific Railroad and the Utah Transit Authority. The construction scope and funding was removed from the Phase 2 Springville Interchange project in February of 2024 due to timing and coordination with the Sharp-Tintic Railroad Consolidation Project. At that time, the department committed to return to the commission once the project is ready to proceed. So located here on our map, see the section from the UPR Tintic line to SR 51. And then this graphic is the larger Phase 1, 2, and now Phase 3 of the Springfield Interchange project. And our request today is a motion to approve adding additional funding to the Springville 1600 South Phase 3, 1200 West SR 51 project as detailed.
We talked about this for a while. I'd move for approval of this. Continuing this whole process down there of all the train tracks, and parkway and everything. Second, okay.
One thing that occurred to me after we went down there, eventually where the UTA will run on the so-called Tintic line. Is that going to be a satisfactory grade crossing, or are we going to go back again and spend some more money?
Let's have Rob come up and address. Rob was hoping to get to address this.
Rob Clayton, Region 3 Director. I was having a hard time hearing your question.
Well, when we went over that, we had at grade crossing of the Tintic line. There's an at grade crossing.
Right.
And eventually we want to put UTA through there. Are we going to need to make major changes to that particular grade crossing because of the way its relationship to 1200 West and the main artery? In other words, are we doing some work now, but we're going to have to come back in a few years and we're going to have to make major changes to that area, such as an overpass or even, rerouting 1200 West or whatever?
The traffic on the Tintic line right now is very, very low. There's not many trains that use that. It's a service line for UP. And so the solution that we're constructing is an interim solution,
all
but it could be in place for quite a while.
Okay. So we may come back and have to see this all again when we do the project to extend UTA through there, right?
Well, when the consolidation occurs, when the connection between the main line,
Oh, that's right.
the Sharp
My
line that's on the
apologies
left.
for taking that. I understand. My
Okay.
apologies. I'm sorry. You're
Okay.
right.
Yep. We're good. Yeah, we're here to ask questions. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions for Rob while we have him up here? Thanks, Rob. Okay.
I owe you now, right?
This is item number 7A5. Do we have a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thanks, Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, if any. Thank you. Item 7A5 is approved.
Thank you. Our next item, 7A-6, this is SR 132 improvements from milepost 38 to Nebo Loop Road. This is a scoping and funding addition from our Transportation Solutions Program, also located in Region 3. The scope of the SR 132 improvements milepost 38 to Nebo Loop Road project is to add a westbound passing lane to the eastbound shoulder widening from milepost 38 to Nebo Loop Road. A needs assessment in the area has identified intersection improvements at Nebo Loop Road. Due to the proximity and to avoid future construction impacts, Region 3 requests the addition of this scope and associated funding to the current SR 132 improvements project. The Nebo Loop intersection improvements will include a new westbound right turn pocket onto Nebo Loop Road and modifications to the existing eastbound two-way left turn lane. These modifications will increase storage and clearly define the turn pocket. Additional funding is required to incorporate this extra scope into the current SR 132 improvements project. So located here on our map, and our request today is a motion to approve adding the additional scope and funding to the SR 132 improvements, milepost 38 to Nebo Loop Road project as detailed.
Do we have questions or a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Question I have, is this road the one that eventually ends up at Laurel Road?
Yeah, and this is westbound coming back from it. It's when you, turning to Nebo Road right off. I think that's what I thought it was, but you can correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussions, questions? If not, all in favor? I opposed, if any. Okay, 7A6 is approved.
Thank you. Next item, 7A-7, moving to Region 4, the Richfield City 1800 South Tap Project. This is an abandonment request. When the Richfield City applied for and received Region Transportation Alternative Program funding to install a new section of sidewalk along 1800 South. The project was intended to install a concrete path for pedestrian use from approximately 940 West to the frontage road. Richfield City has sent a request to cancel this Richfield City 1800 South Tap project. The request letter from Richfield City is attached. So located here on our map.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, if any. Thank you. Item 7A7 is approved.
And we have the letter from the city mayor.
Hopefully saw that in our packet. Thanks.
Next item, 7A-8. This is US 191 northbound passing lane extension in Spanish Valley. That's a funding addition and scope change from the Transportation Solutions Program. The scope of the US 191 northbound passing lane extension project in Spanish Valley is to extend an existing northbound passing lane from milepost 115.2 to 116.2. In further review of the traffic flow, the project team recommends changing the location and shifting the passing lanes to the southbound direction and constructing a southbound passing lane from approximately milepost 119 to 120.7. This will address a critical need as there is approximately an 8-mile stretch of highway in this area without a passing lane in the southbound direction. US 191 has heavy truck traffic, and in this segment, a slight uphill grade creates differential speed challenges and limited passing opportunities with increasing traffic volumes.
Highly recommend approval.
Surprise.
I knew that was coming.
And it says Spanish Valley here, so.
Yeah. Like,
You gonna give a second?
I did.
Okay, now, as I understand this, as you're showing this, in my simple mind, originally, we thought we were gonna do the passing lane the other direction. But after further analyzing and talking to people in the area, and so we decided, let's change it and put the passing lane the other direction, right? So from south, north
So
to
it's going to
south.
be on the uphill side rather than the downhill
Yeah,
side.
yeah, where people slow down.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Jared Beard, the Region
Please,
4 Deputy Director. Yeah, originally we'd done a study through the whole 191 corridor and identified the next areas where we would like to install passing lanes. This location that we're moving to is the number one priority. We originally didn't have enough funding to do this project, so we were going with the next priority, which we had enough funding to cover. As our program manager looked at our funding and we started being able to claw back some funds from our Transportation Solutions Program, we're asking to add some of those funds from efficiencies on other projects to this to be able to fund the number one priority and build this 1.5 mile passing lane in the southbound direction, which is our number one priority to improve safety and passing opportunities in the Spanish Valley area. So.
Okay. All right. So you think we have,
Outstanding
you think we ought to do this?
decision
Okay.
being made.
All right. Okay. 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 Any further discussion?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, if any? Thank you. That item number 7A, 8 is approved.
This item, again, like item number 1, highlights the value of the consent agenda and how we're able to take money, closing out projects,
Yeah.
moving it, even when the project's still running, we're able to move money and reprogram it to our next priorities.
Great process. Thank you for pointing that out.
Our next item, 7A-9, this is the SR-16 Bridges and Culverts Replacements Project located in Region 1. The scope of the SR-16 Bridges and Culverts Replacement Project is to replace 2 bridges on SR-16 near Randolph, as well as replace drainage culverts within the project limit. Initial design began in 2020, and the project estimates have increased due to the project delays and increased needs for wetland mitigation. This is funding coming from the Structures Program. So located here on our map, you can see the 2 structures.
These are the canals.
Yep, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad's been to Randolph.
Many times.
That's where my property taxes go. Okay. We have
A
a,
lot of people there, but I love it.
yep,
I'll second that.
we have a motion. Thank you. And I'm sure Paul's been there too. I've been there too. Any other questions or comments on this? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, if any? Thank you. Item 7A, 9 is approved.
Thank you.
Everyone that goes to Bear Lake, love it. If they go through Evans.
I like to go through them.
Or Vermont.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
How you get to Jackson?
Our next item, 7A-10, which is the Broadband Access Grant. This is a funding and scope addition to one of our new programs this year. The Broadband Access Grant was launched in Q4 of 2022 with $10 million allocated for the Utah legislature using U.S. Treasury capital funds. 2 years later, the legislature allocated another $5 million. The Utah Governor's Office of Planning and Budget, which administers the capital project funds, directed additional potential awardees from the original applicants. High Country Net has installed fiber in 242 locations in 4 phases of the Broadband Access Grant, providing a 25% match for each. Due to other projects within the bag of the Broadband Access Grant finishing under budget, it is proposed to award High Country Net additional scope. This project will include 24 broadband serviceable locations and is slated for installation of March of next year. Located here on our map, see the yellow line is the proposed alignment of the fiber optic line and the locations that it'll be serving. And our request today is a motion to approve adding funding and scope to the High Country Phase 5 project as detailed.
Any comments, questions, or a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion, but I'd like to.
Okay, yeah, okay, my motion is second, so please,
Is it,
Commissioner.
have we discussed this particular broadband previously to this?
When we met in Provo and we did the discussion about our new Utah Broadband Center within the Utah Department of Transportation, we talked about 3 grant programs.
Yeah.
This is the one that the department will present to the commission for approval. Then we had 2 other grants, one of which was rescinded in May of this year. And the second one was the Broadband Equity Access Deployment Grant, which is the $330 million grant that we presented last presented to CANAB. And that one, based on legislative direction, was a presentation to the commission for review. But this is the one where the commission has authority for approval.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, good clarification. Further questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If
Aye.
any? Thank you. So 7A10 is approved.
That's all for me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Appreciate all your work. Okay, we're going to item 8. I think Ross is here today, corridor preservation.
Good morning, Commissioners. I wanted to thank Kevin and Brad for agreeing to participate in the corridor preservation advisory meetings. I'm going to, since we include in here the July and August report, but the totals, most current totals are in the September 30th report, I'm going to just skip to that. As of September 30th, 2025, our balance forward was $76,288,000. We received the first installment of the $20 million annual corridor preservation transfer from the 2025 legislative session. Our total revenue as of September 30th for the month of September was $889,972. Our total expenses for the month of September, $216,692. That group of expenses varies quite a bit just for timing reasons. Property purchases in the month of September was the Provost property, vacant land for the Heber Valley Parkway. Settlement amount, $9,517,623. The fund balance as of September 20th, 2025 was $72,443,945. Funds obligated but not yet dispersed, which means they're in closing and appraisals and other processes, is $25,566,825, leaving a fund balance of $46,877,121. Applications pending amount to $4,932,773, and these are items we're requesting approval on today, leaving a balance of all applications approved at $41,944,348. And we are receiving the regular income from the rental car tax and interest, but we are also receiving $5 million a quarter now from the legislative allocation. And we have really high demand right now for transactions from the regions. The fund tracking document basically shows the same patterns as it does every year, where we have really high activity in the summer for folks hiking and other things, and touring coming to the state. Agenda item 8A, Ivory Land Corporation. The property is owned by Ivory Land Corporation, partial acquisition of property located approximately 1,195 East Highway 73 in Eagle Mountain, Utah County, Utah. The property owner has reached out to the region. They were aware that a portion of the property is within the planned alignment of the future Cedar Valley Highway. The land area is 6.91 acres at $220,000 an acre, or $5.05 a foot for $1,520,000, rounded with a 3% contingency, equals a request of $1,566,000. The location of the acquisition is here in Cedar Valley area, Utah County. And you can see the impact of the property within the project plan for the 6.91 acres. And I would respectfully request approval.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion before us on this item. Any questions on this or a motion?
I'll make that, excuse me, I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Further discussion, input? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye, opposed if any. On this one here, we had a meeting recently with Mr. Christopherson and Legislature Representative Christopherson, and talked about continuing to lock down land out there. We said, we're doing it. And this is an example of what he was asking us about. So thank
And
you.
we have quite a stretch of land out there.
We do. We need to keep it up. Thanks.
All right, there's a big, closer picture of that matter. So item 8B is the Babcock Pleasant Grove Interchange acquisition. The property is owned by Scott Babcock through S&M Summit Ridge LLC. The parcel measures 2.641 acres or 115,047 square feet. The site is situated at 2000 West and has frontage visibility on I-15. The property owner reached out to the region. They are aware that a portion of their property is within the planned alignment for the future Pleasant Grove interchange. The land area is 2.641 acres or 115,000 square feet at 22.45 a square foot. The land acquisition cost is $2.582 million with 3% contingency. The total request is $2,758,958. The location within the state is shown, and the impact in the right-of-way is shown here. And then a close-up view of that. And this is a planned area for future interchange. And I would respectfully request a motion to approve.
Looks like that area where they're making dirt.
Great dirt trails.
What they do is they sift dirt there, is when I say making dirt, they sift. It's nothing else is there with that. So I'd move for, they're making it better than it is. Taking out the old stuff is what they do. They sift out old stuff, so anyway, I'd move for approval of that.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any further comments or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed if any. Thanks. That item 8B is approved.
Thank you. Item 8C, the Crowther property, SR 177 in Hupper, Utah. Comes up every time. The property is owned by Bowen Crowther and Cammie Crowther. The subject property is located at 5912 South, 5100 West in Hooper, Weber County, Utah. The property owners have reached out to the region. Attempts at selling their home have been unsuccessful due to being in the alignment of the future phase 3 of SR 177. Land area is 1 acre, 0.205, 52,500 square feet. The land value is $305,000 with improvements of $285,000 with a 3% contingency. The total request is $607,700. The location within the state is shown here, and the impact on the alignment is shown here for the 1.2 acres. And it's still a ways out, so there's some detail that still is out in the future, but it is right in the middle of the right-of-way. So you can see here just how much it's in the middle of the right-of-way.
And we're gonna have to buy the other properties.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure with this one than you are. You're gonna have to buy it someday, and it's cheaper today.
Absolutely.
Than it will be 10 years from now.
Absolutely.
Sure is.
So I
And,
move approval on that.
you know, luckily we have more requests than we have funds. So
So we have a motion for approval. We have a second. Other comments or questions on this, please?
I just want to ask Brad, is that the rural part of Weber County?
It indeed is.
Okay.
And Hooper.
Okay.
Hooper.
Okay.
Like in Sesame Street, Mr. Hooper, Mr. Hooper.
With that, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed Opposed, if any? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
For being here with us today. Okay, item number 9, commission rule approval. Leif Felder, come on up. He knows I've been excited about this one.
I'm used to sitting here for you, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this here.
You're in Moab.
Yeah, this is.
You could be sitting in Salt Lake.
We could cut off your tie.
Yeah.
You got scissors?
I can find some.
Thank you, commissioners, commission chair Evans and commissioners. Always a pleasure to be with you. This is a rule that was looked at last month. Because it is a commission rule, we give you a month to think about it. And again, the changes are fairly small, but this is kind of the next step would be for you guys to say, hey, we're good with this, approve it. And then we send that over to the Office of Administrative Rules, and it goes through a review process and so forth. And they may ask us to make, some technical changes based on the rule writing manual. Just kind of sharing that with you. Let me just walk you through. This is the kind of the information that they ask us to include with the rule change. It asks for, why are you making the rule change? This was just a 5-year review, and we realized, oh, this needs to be clarified just a little bit. The commission doesn't approve a schedule of fees. They approve a methodology that gets the toll rate in place. And so then it also asks for fiscal information. There's no fiscal impact for this bill. It's just a small change. So it goes through the state budget, local government, small businesses, and so forth. So that's what that is. And then lastly, they have Carlos sign it. And so, if anything goes south, we can say, well, Carlos signed that. So
I like that.
It's always on Carlos.
I like that. See where this is going. I'm looking all the back.
So there are a few technical changes on here, and I'll just point out things like we deleted this in its sole discretion. The commission, in its sole discretion, may increase the toll rates. Well, statute says that you guys are the folks that do that. We don't have to have the legalese in there. So that's just the little changes in here are mostly just technical, but the main piece, the main thrust to it is right here. And again, we're changing the terminology from the schedule of optimal toll rates to a methodology for determining the optimal toll rates. And again, this is for the HOV lane that we're talking about. So we provide that methodology on the website. And then this last section here is deleted because it's a regurgitation of state statute. It just says where the toll rates go, what fund they go into. I don't like to, put statute language here, because then if statute changes, we have to change the rule, and then I have to come here more often, and that's not going to be good. So yeah, just statute can speak for itself. We don't need to have that in there. So that's all that is. But anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions, but if you guys are ready, I'll scroll back up to the proposed motion. But anyway, happy to answer questions.
Thank you for the presentation. We had a chance to review it. We have a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I recently took a trip back to see my brother back in Ohio, and here 10 days ago, I got a greeting from Kansas. As I came back on I-70, they sent me a toll bill. So I guess we do have the technology to read license plates, get it to me. And so I wrote my check for $6.40 and sent it back.
Well,
And,
easy.
well, I thought I'd got out of there easy. But anyway,
So did you
know it was a toll before you entered it?
You have a right to remain silent.
Well, I missed the exit, says this is the last exit before it's toll, as it says. But I wouldn't have taken it anyway, so. But anyway, with that, I move that we approve and give it the final. And we'll be reviewing it again in 5 years.
Yeah.
As we go, so I think you've done great work. Leif, thank you.
Carlos will still be here then, so.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Thanks for your fine work. All in favor, say aye.
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 Well done. Thank you for being here today. Okay, next item, number 10, internal audit, project schedule and quality workforce performance audit report. Shane, please.
All right, let me move this rule out of the way. It's in the one.
It's in the PDF, so just scroll down.
Thank you.
There we go.
Oh,
All right.
all right. Members of the commission, thank you for having me. My name is Shane Young. I'm the internal audit director for UDOT. And because we have a couple new commissioners here, I'll just give a brief background of who we are and what we do. So the internal audit division is it is a division under state statute. Executive agencies are required to have an internal audit division to perform the various functions and responsibilities under the direction of the executive director. The UDOT is a little unique because we also have an audit advisory team, which is comprised of the executive team, Commissioner Evans, the head of the Transportation Commission, as well as a member of the public, where we report on all of our internal audit activities. Our team is comprised of 8 individuals. We're expanding that to 10 due to a couple of vacancies. And half of our team does what we call performance audits. These performance audits are from a risk-based analysis we conduct at the end of each year. And then we present to you as a commission those projects for your approval. Typically, we come in November to describe why we want to choose certain projects. And then in the December meeting, you certify and approve it, and that's what we get to work on. The other half of our team works on reviewing all of the reimbursements and expenditures from our contractors over a certain dollar amount. So all of our consultants and contractors who spend money in UDOT, which they spend a lot of money, as you just talked about for a few minutes. Our team is responsible for the last validation before all of those projects are closed out. So without further ado, let me go over the audit schedule that we're proposing for 2026, and then we'll reserve time for any questions you might have. Now, 4 of these projects might look familiar because there are rollovers from the 2025 schedule. Because of the small staff complement we have, we're more ambitious in the input than we are in the output. And so from the most recent risk analysis we conducted this year, we felt that 4 of those projects that you are already approved for 2025 should roll forward for the 2026 year. And I'll briefly describe each one, and if you feel like you know it, I'll move on. So the first one is on MOU agreements. The basic genesis of this is we write a lot of MOU agreements, but it's unsure how strong our systemic collection and record keeping of those agreements are, and some of the provisions in terms and conditions, if they are favorable to UDOT and doesn't put us in adverse liability due to the way they're written. So this is really just an initial snapshot of where are our agreements, who houses them, who's responsible for them, and are there opportunities to improve the record collection process of those agreements. The second one on contract selection, this is unique. UDOT is one of the few state agencies that actually has procurement authority. Most of the time when the state agency needs to buy something, there's a central procurement independent authority outside of that agency. But because of the unique work that UDOT does, UDOT has that authority both to contract on a federal level or use federal terms and conditions as well as state type contracts. So it can pose some confusion for employees depending on the nature of the type of contract they want to get into. Is, do you use a federal model? Do you use a state model? Are there opportunities to strengthen the education of our employees as they're making those decisions, that they're entering into the right contract engagement? And so this is a snapshot evaluation of what are our practices, how can we help educate and protect and strengthen our employees who make significant procurement decisions. This third one about capital assets is regarding a state requirement where we are required to classify any assets that we deem as a classified asset according to state law. Capital assets are generally assets over $5,000, so there's a lot of them that UDOT has. And this is primarily a compliance review to see if we can ensure that our reporting requirements align with the state expectations. The last one here from the 2025 schedule is the STIP-TIP practice, which you're heavily involved with and know quite well. Reviewing the federal requirements and aligning to see if our practices are best aligned with the federal requirements and if there's opportunities to streamline or improve or adjust the way we do STIP planning in the future. The two projects that are proposed here that are new for 2026 are primarily regarding trends of what we're seeing with the external workforce with our consultants and contractors. So one of them is, how do we better evaluate what our overhead cost trends look like for our partners who work with UDOT? Overhead costs are a substantial part of contract dollars, and sometimes they're often overlooked because they're generally deemed as administrative expenses, but they can be a sizable amount of the contract funds when contract funding is expended. The second one is on labor rate review, similar in vein, where we would like to help UDOT understand what are the comparable labor markets in the state, in certain regions compared to national averages. There are lots of studies out there, but I don't think UDOT's ever taken the approach to, or at least our team has never taken the approach to try and quantify certain positions that we know are transferable to other states. How do we compare as a state? And are there lessons learned that we can glean from future decisions? The two projects, any questions before I move on to the cancellation portion?
Questions, anybody? Nope.
Okay, I know this is like amazingly exciting stuff, so bear with me here.
That's why we leave it for last, because
Yeah.
we build up to this.
I prepared my whole life for this moment here. Just kidding. The two audits we have for cancellation, I spoke with Carlos about, there are times when we understand a problem a little bit better as we get into the weeds. There's adjustments that need to be made. And he reminded me that it's appropriate that if the committee approves projects, then the same committee should also remove projects from our schedule. So the two projects you see here are just those two things. One of them on non-lapsing funds. UDOT budget's pretty complicated, but there's a handful of funds that are non-lapsing. And there was a House bill introduced in 2023 that required certain performance metrics and evaluations to be applied on non-lapsing funds. When the bill came out, it appeared to be really, really restrictive and difficult to accomplish. So our Division of Finance team in UDOT asked us to get involved to see if we can help with the reporting. But since the time that bill came out, the restrictions, they haven't eased, but they were easier to understand. So the relevancy of our involvement didn't become as high as it was when this was first proposed to the commission. The second one was a project that was approved in 2025 on how do we evaluate our workforce. What we found in initial planning phases of this project is that we could better answer the questions about what our workforce trends are through an ongoing task force with certain individuals at UDOT instead of doing it through an audit approach. And so that's the reason why these two projects are on here. And just a brief update on the projects that are in progress. These are projects that were approved in the prior schedules that we anticipate sending out and reporting on in 2026. I won't go through each one with you, but I look forward to discussing with all of you what the outcomes were, what process improvement opportunities we found, and how UDOT received the audits once they're finalized. So the process we go through with these performance audits is once they're completed, we bring them back to you as at a commission meeting and discuss the nature of those projects. So I don't want to give you any spoilers currently, but this is my way of indicating to you, we are working on these. Our staff they're busy and they're heavily engaged in helping UDOT any way they can.
Any questions or comments? I appreciate the work you do. That's so critical to making sure we're on top of things before things happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, appreciate you being here today. And if
I'm sorry, what was that? Oh. Yeah, and Shane, he mentioned that this is done through a risk-based approach. So they interview folks throughout the department, different levels of leadership, and try to understand from their perspective where they see the biggest risks to the organization. And these then filter up. They're reviewed by the 2 deputy directors and myself. So, we're trying to get to those things that can help us make a difference. And this process goes back to really 1997. When the legislature and Governor Levitt first funded what was called the Centennial Highway Program. And during that, they increased the gas tax 5 cents. They made the investment with general fund and they created the Centennial Highway List, which was I-15 at 1.32 billion, plus another 41 projects spread across the state. And when they did that, they said, UDOT, you need to find ways to become more efficient. And so they funded the performance audits, and that's what you see here, is still continuing to this day. And it's been really helpful for the organization. So fully support this, and there's a lot of depth to what Shane and his team do to get to try to simplify this in this language here, but every one of these helps us get better.
And I appreciate the opportunity to be on the audit committee to represent the commission as well, along with Carlos. So I appreciate that opportunity. Okay, thank you for the question. Okay, it looks like now we are to the point you've all been waiting for, the commission committee reports. So let's start over here. Tom. Okay. Thanks, Tom. Anything? Okay. Let's come back here. We'll work our way back towards me. Paul, anything?
So I attended the COG meeting up there in Cache Valley, and we have some alignment issues on Main Street. We appreciate you not funding the Main Street project for us. A few alignment issues that I think we're working on, and there's a lot of active discussion going on. So we just want to express our appreciation for that, and more to come for sure. More to come.
Thank you. Thank you. Bruce?
Yeah, I had an opportunity to attend the transportation conference at the end of October at the Mountain America Center, and saw some of you there as well. And want to compliment Carlos on that conference. It was very enlightening to me. I couldn't believe there was that many people there, 3,000 or whatever it was. It was a great conference. Carlos, you did a good job. Your staff was amazing.
It's the team. Elizabeth McMillan, our comms director, really was the head of that. But it took probably hundreds of people.
Yeah. And since our last meeting, I've had a chance to go to 2 different CIB meetings. And of interest, the last meeting we had we had 2 proposals of using the throughput money to help evaluate and fund a coal port for Utah Coal in Guaymas, Mexico, and another one actually there was 3. There was Guaymas, Mexico, there was Oakland, California, and a port in Washington. And the board sent back the two proposals and proposed that maybe those two proposals get married and bring back one proposal. And things are looking a little better for transporting coal out of Utah and sending it on to Japan. I know the governor had discussions with people in Japan. They really like the Utah coal and really would like to get Utah coal there. So that's kind of in the works, and we'll hear more about that in January, and maybe I can bring back a report for that. But just really glad to have everybody down in this end of the state. See the beautiful country we have down here. Thanks.
Thank you for that report. Commissioner Van Tassel.
Thank you very much. I wasn't able to attend, but Carlos and Heather, thanks I was able to join on YouTube and to watch. It was good quality. I could hear, and it was a great opportunity to be able to join that. I don't know how many had joined, but there's a few of us on there, I think. 2 to 3 weeks ago, we Simplot, the highway expansion, where we traded last commission meeting, we traded property titles from the old alignment for 191 North out of Vernal to Simplot, and they gave us a new alignment for the new road. And the Simplot flew in a private jet with pretty well all of their ed people in, and they had talked about some of the things it did for them as a company. It extends their life at that mine another 10 or 15 years by bringing that property in, which helps our economy. It helps sustain that. And for those of you that might not know, that is probably the largest phosphate mine in the United States. And it is mined. They're doing a good job in reclaiming it. They grind it, they put it in a slurry pipeline and pump it over the hill to Rock Springs, where it's then loaded and processed, goes to wherever. So it's, phosphate is one of those things that if you've ever been a farmer, you don't grow much without good phosphate numbers. And it goes throughout the United States and even into the world. So it was a great opportunity. They took the Chamber of Commerce, had a dinner, and they took it all. I had the opportunity to speak, and Rob spoke, and each of the commissioners, I brought you back a coin to commemorate that. And, it was a large joint public-private relationship. One of the numbers that they shared with us is that they moved 4.2 million yards of fill to create the base for that road. And Highway Patrol loves it. They're up there ticketing people already.
They were today.
And those are the greatest again. Those that are going up are even getting pulled over for speeding. So it's a great. And as I said when I spoke there, the people's lives that we're saving, we won't know them as a community, because it's those people who get transferred over there by Google Maps or Surrey or however they're doing. They get coming over there and they get into an area that they just haven't ever experienced before. And it'll be those people's lives that we save. And any life is important, but it's a great project. Great, we're able to do it. I was talking with one of the heads of the company, and I thanked him for working with us. And he says, tell your governor and your UDOT that we appreciate them. We've never, he says, we used to think Idaho was good to work with, but he says, this has been fantastic. And they're very appreciative. So it was a great opportunity. So just pass that along.
Thank you, yeah.
I mean, it was a great partnership. I mean, I think that's the way you get stuff done anymore. And
Yeah.
I can't remember how many years ago it was, Commissioner Van Tassel, when we had the commission out there. We stood out there looking at 3 or 4 years ago, and, you know, Senator Winterton was pushing on that. And it's been a great project.
Well, when we showed up there, I thought there'd be maybe 20 people, and this whole room is full of lots of people. And it was the chamber's lunch for the week, and they all came to learn and be a part of the tour. And so that was pretty impressive, that the concern of the community to be a
There
part
was
of that.
probably 60 or 70 that drove up to actually cut the ribbon.
Yeah.
So.
Hopefully we'll have a couple projects here to open up. We'll invite the commission to that next section of Mountain View Corridor. Should be ready to go here in the next month or so, and that'll be a pretty cool event. We'll make sure the commissioners get an invite to that. The community's going to have an event out on the road for
We
that.
appreciate that. I remember when you did the West Davis and someone showed up to walk their donkey on the new road or whatever it was. Remember that? We were there. Usually every man and his dog, everyone, and there was a donkey there too, so. That's the first, wasn't it, for you, Carlos, to see that? Thank you. Just a couple things. I agree with the conference. Well done. I thought the panel that Carlos moderated with the president and the speaker went really well, and the governor being a part of that as well. And, I got to become more familiar with Yeti, the UDOT dog, and up there in front. And then Yeti was a great dog, but it was a wonderful dog. Oh, man, I forgot what long-haired dog. So I got out to my car in the sunlight. I had these blue pants and they were covered in white. Yet he'd been up there rubbing against some bed. I'd forgot, but it was still a joy to do that. So, but anyway, just well done. Once again, what you said, Bruce, to everyone, that was a good conference. What I enjoyed about that conference was going around talking to some of the contractors and vendors, talking to our highway folks that drive the IMP trucks out there, and talking to them, and just their excitement to help, and thanking them for the lives they saved. Both the patrol, the citizens and out there. So what a great service they provide. So it was good to see them out there at that as well.
Yeah, they sit under Troy's organization. What do we have, 24 now statewide? 25 statewide.
Yeah, it's great to talk to them, Troy, and the job they do. And I alluded to earlier, but I just want to mention, I thought it was a really good meeting with Representative Christopherson, with Mountain Land officials, with Carlos, with Lisa, Ben, Rob, your team there as well, talking about, you want to know, what are we doing to plan not only 20 or 30, 40, 50 years into the future? And the things like we do with Ross today is important, but I thought that was a really good meeting, and I think he felt good about it, didn't he, Carlos?
Yeah. And, it's been something Representative Christopherson has been asking for a long time. What does ultimate build out look like? Because when we do a long range plan, we say 30 years, and we know we're going to keep growing. And that was really a conversation to look at that portion of Utah County and what build out could look like. And in fact, during the MAG meeting last night, the MAG staff mentioned to the board that, they're going to be doing a ultimate build out type of scenario and building on that. And so I think, some of the members of the board were very pleased to hear that.
Wonderful. Okay. And once again, this time of year, it's just, we as a commission need to say thank you as we give thanks and thankful our families and things. We're thankful to you, Carlos, for the wonderful job you and all your teams do, and your teams of your teams. Please express the thanks as you go back and have your staff meetings with your members from the commission. We're so grateful as we're citizens. Our families use these roads, our grandkids, our children. We're so thankful for the wonderful roads that we have here, thanks to the hard work, dedication, and the commitment that all of you have to our state. So thank you very much. And I hope just you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving season, holiday season, this next couple of months, to enjoy family, to enjoy your neighbors and friends, and just the blessings we have of life living in this wonderful state. So thank you very much. Carlos, anything you'd like to bring up before we end the meeting today?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I know I'm right up against the gavel, but I'm looking at Heather, so I hope I know. For those new commissioners, we normally will do our our commission meeting in December at the complex. That's a fancy name for our headquarters building. And, you know, the folks in the regions call it the Puzzle Palace, or maybe they might have other names about it. But we'll do our meeting, and then we'd like to do a Christmas lunch. So, you know, what we'll do is we'll kind of break, we'll change the format of the room, and, you know, invite, you know, hopefully, you know, you're comfortable to invite your, you know, spouse, partners, whatever, there. And it's just a very casual Christmas lunch.
You gonna sing, Jim?
Jim has sung before.
I actually am in charge of entertainment. It's a secret who's coming in this year.
Okay.
We're bringing in.
You got Troy ready to go?
Troy and actually is going to work up a number. I won't tell you who, but I've got another commissioner who's going to blow your socks off, going to do a special number this year too. It's
Okay.
not me. So
Okay.
just come prepared.
So, you know, so hopefully you can join us for that. It's, I think, a really good time to reflect and be appreciative of, you know, what we have here in Utah.
Thank you. And will be the opportunity to give to the Giving Tree, or how we do that as well? Okay, wonderful. And mentioning Heather, we can't, you always do such a great job, but we need to thank you every time for helping prepare the arrangements with everyone to have great meetings and be able to do the work of the citizens as a Transportation Commission we're asked to do. So thank you for your help in preparing for these meetings.
And so, Commissioner, you were referring to the Giving Tree. So for the new commissioners, it's a program we've been doing for years. And so, you know, as in life, everyone goes through difficult times. And so we don't identify employees by name, but we work to identify those that could use a little help. And so this is a program where we try to help out these employees' families. And, you know, no commitment to do anything, but it is, you know, I have opportunities to donate in a lot of places. This is where I donate mostly. So, well, yeah, it could, yes. And so just to help out some of these families, you know, people that are going through some big illnesses, you know, everyone deals with something.
We do. Thank you. Lisa, anything you need to bring up today? Okay. Well, anything else, commissioners? We good to go? Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Non-debatable.